everyone, and welcome into the first ever The W Show. Jen, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, so I believe we started talking about this last year during the Olympic break and finally kind of put some thought behind it. And here we are. Instead of just texting each other about the W, we thought we'd share our thoughts. And at least if one person listens, there you go.
I'm sure many of you can probably relate if you are listening to this. You have a text chain going about the WNBA constantly, maybe for 10 years. I don't know. And you just want to finally meet some like-minded people who are big W fans as well. So here we are.
Here we are. All right, so the WNBA draft happened a couple weeks ago in mid-April. We won't spend too much time on it because they are well into preseason now. But what were your thoughts on the draft? Paige Bueckers obviously went number one, as expected. Same thing, really 3 international players in the first round. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I was shocked to see that many international players go in the first round, but I'm very excited by it. I think that they're going to be wild cards in the league. It'll be interesting to see if they do play this season because I know that different international leagues interfere with the WNBA season. But yeah, it was really cool and interesting to see that many international players be drafted that early.
Definitely. And the Mystics, they landed 3 top 10 picks. Georgia Amor is out with an ACL injury. Super bummed about that. But Sonia Citron, the 3rd overall pick from the Ariel Atkins trade to Chicago. So exciting stuff coming for the Washington Mystics too. Complete overhaul. One thing too I think is interesting, WNBA teams carry about 11 or 12 players due to the salary cap. Madison Scott was the 14th overall pick and she didn't make a roster. And I kind of just want to point that out because what other professional sports team are you the 14th overall pick and you don't make a roster, right? And this is a bigger issue that I think will get addressed in the next CBA negotiation for 2026. And same thing with Cheyenne Sellers. She was 17th overall pick. She was cut the first week of preseason. She got picked up by the Atlanta Dream, but then again cut by the Dream. There's just no place for these players to go. I think the expansion teams next year with Portland and Toronto, again, more opportunities for these players, but then you're just going to have your next wave of graduating seniors or players that are eligible for the draft come in. Hopefully they'll get it right moving into the next CBA negotiations.
Yeah, it's really hard not having a development league or like DG League or minor leagues where you can develop this talent and maybe bring a player up halfway through the season, especially when you're dealing with injuries. A team like Seattle could have really used somebody extra. They're going to be playing with 10 people on their roster. Speaking of Seattle, I'm very excited about one of their rookies, Dom Malanga. She played for the French national team. She's 6'6", super fast. She's only 19 years old. 3 international players that were drafted were 19 years old. That's incredible. And they play in the professional leagues much earlier, so they do come over with a lot more experience. I think she's going to be one to watch this year.
Yeah, definitely. Sky's the limit's going to be for her. And going into the depth of the rosters too, I think this is something that we're going to see throughout the WNBA season. I think the Liberty can go pretty deep in their bench. Maureen Johannes is back this year. She didn't play last year. Phoebish, I know you'll talk about in a little bit. And then even Rebecca Gardner, the impact that she had with the Sky. She was injured last year, but the depth is what we're going to see. Indiana did a complete overhaul, brought in vets, key players coming off the bench now that can provide that spark. And then even Chicago, I'm very impressed with kind of what they did, bringing in veteran guards that can complement the 2 sophomore pokes.
Yeah, if you're a great team and you play through the Commissioner's Cup and then you go to the finals, it's a 7-game finals. You could go into 60 games with the same amount of players that you had, the same roster size as we've had the past few seasons. So that's going to be something to watch. It's going to be very, very important to have depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was last year for the Lynx. They 5 games with the Sun and then 5 games with the Liberty. So in 2 rounds, you're already playing 10 games, and typically they're play 1 day off and then play again. So definitely quick turnaround, especially when you're flying and you're jumping sites, jumping time zones. So it'll be very interesting to kind of watch that as the season progresses. But as we go into the opening weekend, it's 8 games, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and then 2 on Sunday of opening weekend. What are 2 to 3 games you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the LA Sparks at the Golden State Valkyries.
Yeah.
I'm excited to even say that game right now because the Valkyries, they sold over 10,000 season tickets, probably more than that at this point. That's the most any WNBA team has ever sold for a single season. And I think that stadium is going to be rocking. And I'm super
Definitely.
excited to see my LA Sparks. I call them the LA Vols. They got some of my Tennessee Vols on there. They're going to come in with great chemistry already. The LA Sparks, I mean. They've got Dearica Hamby and Kelsey Plum who played together on the
Wow.
Aces and did very well. Eventually, they're going to get Cam Brink back. That's going to be another great addition. A lot of those players played in Unrivaled, so they're coming
Yeah.
in with a good chemistry already. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Rocky Top, baby, right? Go Vols. Um, I for the Valkyries, this is what the fans are waiting for, and I do think that the Valkyries are going to overperform this year, and their fans are going to be that sixth man for them. And I think two California teams facing off too. They played in preseason. Um, you know, take that for what it's worth. I do think the Sparks are gonna come out with the win. What do you think?
Agreed. Yeah, and I hope so. I'm a big LA Sparks. I'll be
Yeah.
partial to them all season.
Yeah, yeah. All right, jumping over to Saturday, we're looking at the Aces at the Liberty and then also the Sky visiting the Fever. What are you thinking?
I'm very excited to see the Aces and Liberty. Anytime you see Aces and Liberty, just mark yourself as busy that day. You're going to want to watch that game. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. Those teams are just like two past champions. You're looking at two MVPs going up against each other in Stewie, Brandon Stewart, and Asia Wilson. I think they're coming in still at the top of their game.
For sure.
And Aces, I think they're going to be better than they were last year. What do you think?
I think the Liberty are going to be better than they were last year. And for the reasons I listed earlier, too. I think my biggest question with the Aces, and we've seen that kind of in the postseason where the bench gets really short. And losing Tiffany Hayes, losing Alicia Clark, I'm curious how they're going to fill that void. I think post-wise, Elizabeth Kitley coming back from injury, I even think 1 year of rehab, being around the team, being around the facility will do wonders for her. But I'm interested to see that. I think Becky Hammond already has a short bench. They signed Dana Evans, Crystal Bradford, Go Chips, Central Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised if the Aces beat the Liberty, but I think the Liberty, I feel like in years past, it's just kind of taken them a little bit to get going. Where I think they'll get their 30 wins, 35 wins because the season's going to be a little bit longer this year. And I think they're back in the finals.
Tiffany Mitchell is playing with Asia
Yeah,
again, and they won at South Carolina together
they
in
did.
2017. So I'm excited to see that team. Let's go to Sky and Fever. So Saturday, we've got Chicago Sky, um, another great rookie, Haley Van Lith, playing with back with her old teammate Angel Reese, Camila Cardoza, going against the Indiana Fever at Indiana. What do you think?
Yeah, the way people get pumped up for the Aces and the Liberty because Wilson and Stewart bring out the best in each other, that's how the Sky and Fever are going to be moving forward. Everyone, especially last year, pitted Reese and Clark against each other. I don't think that's how it's going to be. And both of these teams added veteran pieces and depth to their bench. Every Sky Fever matchup is going to be a great game. I'm very interested to see how the veteran guards put Reese and Cardoso in positions to score the ball where they have to do less work to then create a shot. And then I'm also interested to see, again, this is Aaliyah Boston's third year. You brought in Natasha Howard. So I think it's going to be a really fast-paced game, high-scoring game. And I think it's going to get a little chippy too, which all WNBA games, like there's stuff on the line. So I think that's normal.
Yeah, if we can take a step back here, what are you thinking for the Aces and Liberty? Who's your pick?
I'm going to go New York Liberty, defending champs, at home.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
right. Ellie the Elephant's going to bring it home.
They do have an incredible crowd, but I'm Team Becky Hammond. I think the Aces come in mad about how last season went. I think they come in with a fire. They're well rested. They're healthy. I'm going Aces for that first game. And then Sky and Fever. I'm going to take the Fever. I just think that you've got all the pieces there. But I do think the Sky are going to come in a little upset that they don't have Teresa Witherspoon coaching them anymore. And they're going to be, they're going to have a lot to prove
Yeah,
coming into that game.
I'm also going to go with the Fever. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be an up and down game, but I think Fever are going to win this one.
Nice. So let's move on to the Sunday matchup. We've got Minnesota Lynx at the LA Sparks. What you got?
Yeah, I'm interested to see Minnesota Lynx. I think they're a finals team again. I think that Maisha Hines-Allen signed with Dallas. I was a little disappointed to see her go. Jessica Shepard should be back with the Lynx, and I believe they have like a 6'6" post player from France. I'm blanking on that right now. But I think that's the only thing I worry about in terms of can they match the size of a Jonquel Jones in the finals again, right? Like five game series, she was the leading scorer for the Liberty, 3 of those games. So I wonder about that, but I think this team has been together. They gel so well. And they didn't make many offseason moves. So it tells you that Cheryl Reeve is confident that they are right there again. One thing I will say, the Sparks finished last in the standings last year, but I felt like they never quit. You're always going to get that effort out of Hamby, Rakia Jackson. Obviously, yeah, Cam Brink's coming back. Odyssey Sims, I mean, she played spectacular for the Wings with her, her stint in Dallas last year. So again, veteran point guard. And Kelsey Plum, she's going to demand excellence and she's going to demand effort. And I think that's going to show.
Well, yeah, the Aces have proved themselves. The LA Sparks,
Yeah.
they have a lot to prove. But Rakia Jackson, I mean, come on. Like, she has range, she has energy, she's fast. I'm in love with her game.
Yeah. She's
But
very
yeah, I think Lynx are still going to pull that game out. But I do think it's going to be a close game.
And then looking at Tuesday, so your Atlanta Dream against the Indiana Fever.
Yeah, I had to highlight this game because I'll be at the game on Thursday, May 22nd. So this is going to be a little preamble to that. I want to see how the Dream play. Brittany Griner is on the Atlanta Dream
Yeah.
now after many seasons with Phoenix Mercury. And, she started both preseason games and she knocked down a few threes.
Yeah. She's
So when
really
you look at her and
experimenting.
Brianna Jones, I mean, their game, I just think that the Dream are exactly where they need to be. Obviously, you want to have Jordan Canada healthy to start the season. She hyperextended her knee in a preseason game. I think the Dream are actually, they played the Fever very close in both games
Mm-hmm.
last season, and I think they're better this season. So I'm picking the Dream against the Fever on Tuesday.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Fever, but I am very interested to see the pace of this game. Indiana has kind of taken an approach of we're just going to outrun everybody. Size doesn't matter. We're going to get up and down. We're going to get easy buckets. We're going to make threes, get out in transition. And I think it will match well with Atlanta's guards. However, I want to see the post dynamic when you have Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones in the game together. I'm interested to see how that plays out. All right, so now that we discuss the opening weekend games, let's move over to bold takes of the season. What do you got?
I've already kind of shown my cards a little bit here, but I'm taking the Sparks to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the power rankings preseason, and obviously, like the Sparks had a terrible record last season, but also they had a lot of rookies. Those
Yeah.
rookies have played together,
Yeah.
they've lost together. And now we've added Kelsey Plum, who played at the Aces with Dearica Hamby. Yeah, I think Sparks going to make the playoffs this year. What about you?
I think the Mercury are going to miss the playoffs. And I will say that the combo of Copper, Thomas, and Sably, I mean, that is just spectacular of what those three can do collectively and individually. I'm concerned about the depth that they have. I know I talked about depth earlier, but I want to see how far can those three players carry this Phoenix Mercury team. We know Liz Thomas can play 1 through 5. Sably meshes well. She played well with Enrique, so she'll play well with Copper. And any of them at any time can go off. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be more of finding out what pieces do they need to bring in or where are they lacking a little bit. We'll move to Golden State Valkyries. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the WNBA. I've seen many mock standings. I think they're just slated at that 13 spot because they are the expansion team. They're going to win some games that they shouldn't win. And then, they're going to lose some games too. That is just first year, things that happen. But I know you have a tidbit about the Valkyries, so I'll pass it over to you.
I agree with you. Historically, new teams have not played well. They've historically had really bad first seasons. However, the Valkyries roster, they have more playing time just last season than both the Connecticut Sun and the Mystics teams this season. So we're looking at a team that even though they're brand new and they're going to take some time to mesh, I mean, they have almost 1,000 more minutes of playing time last season than the Mystics do. I'm excited to watch that team. And Kate Martin already has a huge following. That crowd was just wild every time she touched the ball, even in the preseason.
Yeah, definitely. And one last thing, I think too, Brittany Sykes of the Washington Mystics or Marina Mabrey of the Connecticut Sun. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them were traded to at the deadline to a championship contender team. We saw that last year with Mabrey going from the Sky to the Sun. And they took the Lynx to 5 games in the semifinals, so they could have easily been in the finals. But both of them are great players, so it'll be interesting to see what teams are willing to give up, if anything, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised and could see one of those players moving before the deadline.
Yeah, we'll have our eyes on that deadline for sure. Let's jump into the end of season awards. MVP. Let's start there. So we wanted to do a little fun like prediction of the end of season awards. So who do you have for MVP?
I have Nafisa Collier. Look, she had a great unrivaled season winning the 1v1 championship. I think she's overdue. She finished second last year to Asia Wilson. And I just think what the product that the Lynx put out there, they just worked so well together where they put each other in positions to be successful. They definitely know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I just think this is her year. I think they're going to be contenders again. And I think she has a chip on her shoulder. They probably thought they got wronged in the finals, right? They should have won that. They probably think that. And there wasn't much overhaul in the off season. So again, like I said, I think Cheryl Reeve is looking at this team like we weren't far off from winning, and I think they could do it again behind MVP Nafisa Collier.
MVP. Yeah.
MVP.
I think she's very comfortable taking over every single game. That's a spot that she thrives in. And that leads into the player that I have for MVP because I think they also really thrive in that sort of environment. That's Caitlin Clark. Listen, I hate to take the favorite, and I also hate to not take Asia Wilson because I think she's lost a couple that she deserved to win. But at the same time, there have only been 3 players ever to win in their first or second season, MVP, I mean. And Caitlin's second season, I just think that this is the one for her. She has the team around her. She has a better coach. Last season, she was coming straight from college into the pros. She had no break. She's had a break. She spent her summer taking care of herself. We saw that picture. She's buffed up a little bit. Like she's coming in ready to play.
Let's go.
Let's talk about Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of
Who
the
you got?
Year. I got Paige Beckers. And I think she has the platform in Dallas to take over. And I don't mean that in a sense of, I think her and Enrique are going to work well together, but I think what are the expectations in Dallas? You know, like obviously they traded away Sably, they brought in some pieces. I don't think it's a complete rebuild that you're looking at like the Connecticut Sun or whatnot, but I don't think the expectations are to make it to the finals. I think this is a year, Paige, get your feet wet. Very similar to Caitlin last year of like it's a whirlwind. If Paige doesn't play passive, I think they could have success, and I think she will put up the numbers to reflect that of a Rookie of the Year. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. My Rookie of the Year, I wanted to go a little contrarian on this pick because Dom Malonga, she's on the Seattle team where they only have 10 players and they have incredible vets like Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins who want her to succeed. They're going to want to play with her and they're going to have a lot to teach her, and she's very willing to learn. And this girl's ready. Like, she's not nervous. She is ready to go. She's played internationally for a few years now, actually. She's only 19. She does not talk or play like she's 19. She has range. She's 6'6", but she's very fast for her size. She can dunk. So we'll see. We'll be on the dunk watch for that. And I want to talk about Defensive Player of the Year. I just don't think anybody but Asia Wilson or Nafisa Collier win it. Fee's my pick, though. Fee's my pick. She's locked down.
Repeat.
Yes.
I'm going with Angel Reese. I think her ability to just go after rebounds, she's out of her rookie year. She's entering in her sophomore year, and she had the time at Unrivaled, and her work doesn't stop. I mean, she is just go. We've seen that with missed layups. I do think there's going to be less missed layups, which then I think will bring her rebound total down. But she's so motivated to get those rebounds. I think she prides herself in that. and I think we're gonna see that again. But my pick is Angel Reese, more of a bold pick, but I'll stick with her. And then lastly, sixth player of the year.
I'm picking up where last season left off, and I'm going Leonie Febish. She had an incredible finals run. She showed up seemingly out of nowhere, and she was that sixth person off the bench for them. She has incredible defense. She can knock down a three anytime. I don't know if she's going to carry that 3-point shooting into this season, but she doesn't even, I don't think she even needs to. What about you?
One tidbit on that too, I'm interested to
Yeah.
see Phoebish. She reminds me of Alicia Clark, where she got the size. She's a 3-and-D player, but my pick is Sophie Cunningham. Assuming that she's going to come off the bench, which if I was Stephanie White, I would have her come off the bench. I would start Duana Bonner. Duana Bonner does not need to play 35 minutes, not with the depth that the Fever have. They have more depth than they did last year in Connecticut, so I would bring Sophie Cunningham off the bench, and I think you know what you're going to get with her. She's going to run the floor, she's going to hit open threes, and she can defend 1 through 4. So Sophie Cunningham is my sixth player of the year.
Yeah, which is hard because you're looking at the Fever, like you said, they're really stacked. There are 3 players on the board for sixth player of the year right now preseason. Sophie Cunningham, Duana Bonner, and Lexi Hull is actually an underdog there. And I think she also had a great season last season. So, yeah, it's a tricky pick there, which leads me right into, we want to know your pick. We want you guys to throw your picks in the comments. Join us in this. We're going to be following these players all season. We'll see how this irons out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. This is the W Show. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Michelle, and we'll see you Thursdays.